Trish, as we get towards the end of the episode, I like to do a little thing that's actually become kind of a staple on the podcast now. We ask the experts some myths and we see if you can bust the myths. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know if they are true or false, so they may not all need busting. So you're going to be letting us know. I've got 5 myths for you today. So my first one, herbal medicine is not backed by modern science.
I think that's a myth. It's simply not advertised as having clinical trials behind it. However, there are clinical trials behind a lot of these medicinal plants, herbs, and mushrooms, and there are more that are starting to pop up. I think the real issue is simply that they often don't have the funding that pharmaceuticals backed by big pharma have. And so you do see less of them, but they do exist.
And like you said about the canna ingredient that you use, like millenniums has been used. So it's like the clinical trials, maybe they weren't clinical, but like the trials they've been there, they've been in the world, they've been all over the world. So that's very true. Okay, my next one, natural always means safe.
No. No. I mean, a lot of different substances could be considered quote unquote natural, but are not safe. And I also think that, natural is such a misleading term that we really have to be our own advocates and read the back of the box and understand when natural is simply being used as a marketing term.
Okay, that's really helpful. Herbal medicine has no side effects.
Not true. Herbal medicine certainly has side effects. It has both positive side effects and it can have negative side effects. It's no different than any other substance or medicine that you might take. And I always say to people that you should consult with your doctor before taking any new supplement or plant medicine, because we're all very different. Our makeups are different and they can impact people differently. And so, you just have to, again, really know your body and listen to how it's reacting to something and proceed with caution. You can never be too safe.
Perfect. All herbal products are eco-friendly. I'd like to hear this one from the point of view of someone who has the herbal medicine farm.
Well, I think eco-friendly is a broad term. Not necessarily all of them are eco-friendly, because some of them, if grown irresponsibly or if transported irresponsibly, they could end up being invasive to the place where they land. And so you always want to be mindful and careful of that. You don't want to be on vacation somewhere and say, I'm going to bring this plant home. And then it could end up, entering your garden and killing all the other plants in it. So certainly always not friendly to their ecosystem. But I think generally speaking, most medicinal plants and herbs have a lot of benefit. And one of the really interesting things, and one of the things I love about regenerative farming, is that the whole concept is to allow for biodiversity. And what you learn from observing biodiversity is that they take care of themselves. Nature has a way of balancing itself when we kind of step back and allow it to do what it does best. And so in that sense, I think that they are very eco-friendly, and I think that they benefit us and they benefit the land. And so I am all for medicinal plants and herbs.
Exactly. Okay. And the last one is that herbal medicine are chemical and pesticide free.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Again, I think it depends on where they're sourced from. I think, I know that I sort of had some negative thoughts around the term certified organic and so forth. But as a general rule of thumb, if you look for products that are labeled with organic, it at least means that they were not grown with pesticides and fertilizers. Okay. And so that is at least like a safe signifier that you can consume them and not have to worry about it.
Okay, that's perfect. And before we go, do you have any advice for our listeners? If our listeners want to incorporate some of your principles into their life today, what would be the first step that you'd suggest?
The biggest thing is to be your own advocate. As I mentioned, I think that when it comes to healthcare and wellness and even beauty, everyone's trying to sell you something, right? Mm-hmm. And so you really just have to be very discerning and understand what your body needs, what your mind needs, and be your own best advocate for that. And if something isn't working for you, it isn't working for you. It doesn't matter if it works for somebody else. And if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And vice versa. You may find a product that you absolutely love and it changes your day-to-day quality of life. And so I think you really just have to be your best advocate. And if you have been relying solely on the Western healthcare system, which I do not knock entirely, there's absolutely a time and a place. If you, break your leg, you're going to go see an orthopedic surgeon. You're probably not going to go to acupuncture. And, but if you are looking for other tools for your tool belt and other methods for caring for yourself, herbal medicine and plant medicine, it's an excellent place to start exploring. And generally speaking, it's also a very safe place to explore.
I love that. And Trish, tell our listeners, where can they find you? If they want to buy some products, if they want to get in touch with you and ask some questions, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Absolutely. Well, our website is seekgoodpsyche.com. And you can also find us on Instagram at goodpsyche_wellbeauty. And you're always welcome to shoot me a DM on Instagram and chat and ask questions, or you can shoot me an email at hello@seekgoodpsyche.com.
That is perfect. And I will put all of those links in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much, Trish, for being a guest today and sharing all of your expertise with our audience. It is our mission and our passion here at the Wellness Plus podcast to help our listeners become healthier and happier. So if you guys listening, if you have any topics that you'd like us to explore or any guests that you'd like me to interview on the podcast, please get in touch. You can do so through the comments on YouTube, where we always encourage you to cultivate a little community there, chat about your experience in watching this episode. And you can always email me directly, which I will also link in the show notes. And if you enjoyed the episode, check out our extensive library on YouTube. We have hundreds of informative videos pertaining to human health and happiness. And I just want to say that I'm really grateful for you guys listening today. Please consider continuing to support us on Patreon so I can continue making this content. And that's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Plus podcast. And until next time, stay well. Hey everyone, Chelsea here. I would love to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will gain access to an incredible collection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app today and get a free 14-day trial.